Goff on the drop, has time, shuffles left, throws to the end zone, wide open receiver, Cooks, and the ball is knocked incomplete thanks to a great and late recovery by McCourty. Jason McCourty.
Our backs against the wall, what we do gets stronger. And everything we earn, we deserve. It's nothing but blood, sweat, tears, and hard work on our turf. Still on top, we stay focused. Been running it for a minute now, if you ain't noticed. Cause now it's our time, it's all or nothing. So pay attention, cause them boys is up to something. From the proving grounds to top 10, we won't stop, and they still mad.
Brady dropping back, lobs a throw for Gronkowski, left side, makes the catch over two defenders, tumbling Brady to the two, gives to Michelle, runs it left, a dive in the end zone, touchdown Patriots. Michelle for 6. Throws a lob down the right side for Cooks, and the pass is going to be knocked incomplete. Coming over to Ron Harmon, takes the tap. Harmon out of blitz. Goff throws it to the right. Gilmore's there, intercepted at the 4. Harmon forced the pick, and Gilmore comes up with it. His second of the postseason. In possession of the Patriots.
We won't stop. Been on top a decade and a half. From Belichick to Kraft, you better check the stats. When you think of us, you think of a problem. Who, what, when, and how you gon' solve them whenever we performing. You better try to warn them, cause Edelman will juke by as soon as Gronk touchdown, he's spiking.
Extends the hand, receives the step. Swing of the right leg, kick driven to the uprights. And the kick is good! Ball game. 2-possession game. That's 72 seconds remain in Super Bowl 53. Tom Brady, about to be a 6-time champion, takes the snap, drops to the knee, and the Patriots have won their 6th Super Bowl title. In the early 2000s, they won 3 of 4. Now they have won 3 of the last 5. Yes, it's still a dynasty.
Success is worth the fighting. They can tell me no, but they'll never stop my shining. That's a champion. That's a champion. That's a champion. I'm a champion. I'm on the road.
Running up the score. Jerry Napoleonello.
The Cowboys made 2 mistakes in the last 3 years. One was letting Dak take over for Romo and not having Romo come back in. And 2 was releasing Des Bryant. Superstition, screw that. Let's pick this bad boy up and walk it around the ice.
Kevin Donlin.
The NFL, like every league, is a business. And in a business, you have a job. And let me tell you something. You always have a boss. No matter who you are, you have a boss when you're in the organization. The New York Jets, you know what they need to do with their second round pick? They need to just start taking it and lighting it up on fire.
This is Running Up the Score, your one-stop spot for all things sports. Join in on the conversation by calling in at 605-562-7085. Now here's your hosts, Jerry Napoleonello and Kevin Donlin.
All right, it's time to run up the score. Running up the score with Jerry Napoleonello and Kevin Donlin, 605-562-7085. Press 5 to be heard live. First, go on SeatGiant.com and type in RUTS Sports to save on tickets. Super Bowl 53 has gone and went. There has been very mixed reviews, I guess you could say, about it. But all in all, it came down to Tom Brady, Bill Belichick, and the New England Patriots winning their 6th Super Bowl, tied for the most by any team in the NFL with Pittsburgh Steelers. But hey, that's not the only thing that's been going on in the sports world. We had a very rumor-filled NBA trade deadline come and go, and once again, we have to bring up the first place New York Islanders.
Of course.
I mean now it's just it's an exciting time to be an Islanders fan, and it's got to happen.
You know, the winning is happening consistently, and you know, I was talking even to a couple of friends even off the air, and you know, basically they have the implement that this team is having up and down, and you know, some guys aren't performing as well, and you know, you got to see it from a full standpoint. This is a different system. The system is a defensive minded first. The numbers are going to be down for everybody, including the almighty Barzal. So, which the kid has done his own, even in the last couple of days as well. So, but guys like Bailey and Beauvillier. There's a debate here whether or not these guys are playing up to par. Now you want to hear them in the trade rumors.
Yeah.
Panarin, who's already just officially announced, folks, that he's a rental player at best.
Yeah.
He don't know where he wants to play. And I can understand. And he's earned the right to have his choice. And he's doing it the right way.
Absolutely.
The non-John Tavares way. My voice just cracked at that. I can't even say his name anymore without it cracking. It's just that detrimental. I mean, it's what he did was not right. To say the least, you had to let the organization know. And I understand it's a very difficult decision. Obviously, everybody wants to go and play for the home team they rooted for their entire career. I mean, their whole life. I shouldn't say career. Their life growing up as a child. And I understand that. And, if I was a hockey player, I'd want to be an Islander on the basis that I rooted for this team. I grew up here. And I can understand where he's coming at. But you just got to be truthful with the organization. I mean, you could have gotten yourself $11 million more. That's the issue here with me.
Yeah.
You trade him to Toronto like he wants. Don't even get much in return. Maybe a couple of picks, something. Just something.
Yeah.
And now he's making an extra $11 million because he gets the 8th year with the Toronto Maple Leafs in that deal.
Yeah.
No doubt. Gets the 8th year.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, he holds this going, doesn't say a word, and here we are. And now we're here with the New York Islanders in first place without him, which is an embarrassing situation for himself. I mean, he's playing very well, and Toronto needed a player like that. They did.
Yeah,
it made them a completely different team.
I think Toronto is, 1 point ahead of the Islanders,
They're just one of the elite teams in the NHL right now. That's the point coming across, is that you got Tampa, you got the Maple Leafs.
Well, you have
the Islanders, you have the Capitals, you have Pittsburgh.
And
Columbus is with their troubles, though, still.
You look at that team, though, the way it's constructed, someone's going to be left out because they're not going to be able to sign all of them. So it's going to be, who's going to be left out? You have Austin Matthews, who you have to sign.
They already did.
And that's what I'm saying. You have
He's
to
making
sign
11 and change. Tavares is making 11.
This just happened, 2 days ago?
Something
days
like
ago?
that. Yeah, it was very recent.
You had to do that.
Of course.
You had to.
The guy is a premier player.
You have John Tavares, obviously, who you signed. So, there, like I said, there's going to be someone left out. You have Mitch Marner. You have, you have Austin Matthews. You have John Tavares. You have, who was the other one? I'm totally blanking on the other one's name.
Mitch Marner.
No, I said him. The other one. Who they?
Oh, come on, William Nylander. I mean, he's already signed.
That's what I'm saying.
That was a bad signing as well. I mean,
is somebody? But is Mitch Marner going to be left out?
No, I mean, right now, according to reports, they have said that that Mitch Marner and the Toronto Maple Leafs were very close. But now, if you sign Mitch Marner to the money that he's expecting,
you have no other team around him.
You have nothing, and we're talking defensemen, and I mean, I've been there. The Islanders have had their share of stars, and the same with the New York Rangers. Any Ranger fan can come up to you right now and tell you the same exact thing. You can have the stars like Lindros and Wayne Gretzky and have them to big money. You need to surround these guys. This is a team sport. It always has been.
Yeah.
That'll never change about hockey, and I think that's the great thing about hockey, and that's why you see new teams moving around in the standings a lot.
Absolutely.
Absolutely a lot. There's a team like the Chicago Blackhawks. They have the same players they had for the most part. I mean, aside from, minus Panarin, which I never understood that trade to begin with.
Yeah.
But you see the Chicago Black, they're in last. Last place right now. They've been a top team for the last 5 years?
Yeah.
10 years? The Kings.
Yeah.
They're one of the worst teams in the NHL right now. Good team for the last 10 years.
Yep.
The New York Rangers. Been a good team for the last 10 years.
They suck.
Yeah, I know. But, this is the point I'm coming across, is that this season has been such a
up and down.
Just to show you how even the NHL is.
Yeah.
And you do not know who's winning the cup every single season. I think that's the great thing about the NHL.
And we talked about that last week. Just how great just the other sports are, other than NBA. I mean, obviously you have the Patriots.
But I'll be honest. I mean, I can make this debate with you all day. Yeah. I'll tell you right now, I can name one of like 3 or 4 teams that'll win the World Series next season. I'll tell you one of 4 teams. I'll give you 4 teams in the entire league. Who's going to win the Super Bowl? And I'll probably be right. And I can give you 4 teams for the NBA. I could honestly give you 2.
Yeah.
And I'll let you know who's going to win the NBA Finals. So, when it comes to the NHL, it makes it so much different.
Me, I'm not arguing that fact.
These other leagues have become slightly predictable.
The NHL is probably the most up in the air type of sport.
Oh, absolutely. That's what makes it great. And the playoffs are like 3 months, folks. I mean, let's be honest.
But I think baseball is pretty tough. To get another team in there. Obviously
you can't name 4 teams from Major League Baseball that you think can win a World Series this season coming up.
Absolutely. No, absolutely I can. Obviously you have the Yankees up there. You have the Red Sox up there. Those are 2 teams that are probably
keep going. I mean, you know where the other 2 teams.
One of those teams are probably going to be in it. One of them.
Yeah, and then you have to talk about in the National League.
Well, you got the Dodgers, that could.
And honestly, between you and me, you have the New York Mets. The pitching is still there.
Wait.
The pitching. What you debate this with me?
That was the biggest joke I've ever.
I'm a Yankee fan. I'm a Yankee fan telling you that. I'm just realistic, and I'm knowing what the situation is for the New York Mets, barring injuries, of course.
I mean, I think a Met fan would even tell you that that's absolutely absurd.
That you think that the New York Mets have a shot at the World Series this year with that pitching? I'll tell you right now, the pitching's better than the New York Yankees, without a doubt. That 1-2 in front is going to be so difficult.
Yeah, but that's all they got now.
Oh, it's not all they got.
I mean, the other guys are okay.
I'll be honest. I've always been the believer of the formula of the Arizona Diamondbacks. I'll call it for years because that team had no money.
Schilling and Randy Johnson.
You just need the 2. You need that 1-2 dominant. You couldn't be more dominant than DeGrom was. And I mean, that's
absolutely.
not gonna. That's just not going to stop. I mean, there's no way you go into next season not thinking that DeGrom doesn't win 15 at least next season.
To be honest with you, I think Noah Syndergaard gets traded at the trade deadline this year,
barring where they're at. My voice is cracking.
I don't even know. I don't know if they'll be able to keep him. To be honest with you.
What about the money standpoint? That's the imbalance with Major League Baseball as well. Like I tell you, a team like the New York Mets has a shot to win the World Series, but it seems unlikely because their salary is not even a percentage.
But they have nothing else.
Seems
though.
like
That's the thing. Their offense is okay.
Yeah, the offense has to manage a very grueling season. It happens every year with the New York Mets. But you know what? Offense is everywhere. Coming into Citi Field, having to face those 2 pitchers are going to have a grueling day.
Yeah.
Because offense slumps and pitching never does. I've always been a believer of that.
Their bullpen's not great.
It's getting better. They've added some pieces.
Well, you get Familia back. That's, but I don't know.
They're adding pieces, and I think it'll be an interesting year for the New York Mets. And I think it's an exciting year to watch for the New York Met fans. But, at the same time, this is the problem with Major League Baseball. You look at these teams with the salary, and it's just so obnoxious.
I'll tell you what the real problem with baseball is. That 2 of arguably the best players in Major League Baseball are sitting on the free agent list a week before pitchers and catchers are to attend.
Well, it's because this is what baseball's turned into. If it's not going to stop...
But that's what I'm saying.
There has to be a foot down at some point. But these teams won't put their foot down. Teams like the Texas Rangers, who threw out $200 million to Alex Rodriguez, started this whole roundup.
That's
the Yankees have really taken an absolute hold of that.
Yeah. Well,
a stress hold almost, just a great grip on it. And
The fact that the Yankees really aren't pushing at this, I think, is one of the main reasons why they're still out there. I think the Yankees,
because these players want to make this money.
Well, yeah,
I understand.
I mean, they both of them fully expect to make $300 million, which is absurd.
It's obnoxious.
But the thing is, the Yankees usually they set the tone for the free agent market. So usually, they'll throw out, a money line to one of these guys and say, that's a top, and these guys go for it. Now it's like they're doing the opposite. Now they're waiting for somebody else to put that money line out there and say, all right, well, we're going to pay you 7 years for $220 million.
Because it's a whole different
yeah,
world.
Absolutely. But then the Yankees could come in and say, you know what, we'll give you $235 million.
And it sounds amazing.
And it sounds better. And you know what? In a way, the Yankees are actually being smarter now because now they're doing it in a money-friendly kind of way, and they're still owning the free agent market.
It's really just an unfair standpoint, and no one's a bigger Yankee fan than me. I mean, I'll never sit there and tell you that what the Yankees are doing is wrong. I mean, it's not wrong. It's allowed.
Yeah.
The sport allows it.
Yeah.
You can't blame the New York Yankees. You need to blame Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
They're the issue here. The issue does not come with the New York Yankees. It never has.
No.
And it's a continuing, ongoing concern. We obviously moved from how good the NHL is, and now we're moving to the MLB. And me personally, just from a standpoint of being a fan and, watching for years, growing up, everything,
yeah.
We talk about, and we're going to transition this beautifully.
Yeah, absolutely.
Into the NFL right now, because I want to talk about, basically just this whole little debate I'm hearing about Julien Edelman. And it goes from MLB back to the NFL because you're hearing Julien Edelman's name in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Now, I'm a baseball fan. I know what's going on in baseball. I know that Roger Clemens, Alex Rodriguez, Barry Bonds are still not on the Baseball Hall of Fame on the account of taking performance-enhancing drugs. I don't know if anyone realizes this or forgot, but Julien Edelman, this season, first 4 games of the season, gone.
Failed PEDs.
For PEDs. Goes on, comes back and plays. New England wins the Super Bowl, folks. They won it this year. They are Super Bowl champions. And Julien Edelman was the star. Now he's a Hall of Famer. Now he's a Hall of Famer. Now he's in Hall of Fame talk. Now we talked about, we could talk about forever the numbers and the debate there to begin with.
Yeah.
But I need you to talk to me about this issue because this is is it accepted, folks, or is it not accepted in the world?
Listen, it's going to happen where one sport lets one guy in. And I think it's going to end up starting with baseball. They're going to let one guy in.
It's already been a known fact that guys in the NFL are in there right now.
Absolutely.
And it just shows that you're telling me that performance-enhancing drugs will get you a 4-game suspension, but it'll get you the Hall of Fame. And me personally, as a fan, growing up, watching baseball, watching that whole thing happen with Barry Bonds, Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa, these guys hitting the most monstrous home runs ever. And then it comes out that these guys were taking a drug. Now, I grew up playing baseball. I grew up playing all these sports. Never thought about taking this kind of stuff. And then if you think about it, the money that they made off contracts that they signed using these performance-enhancing drugs, it was a big issue.
Yeah.
Now, all of a sudden, we go to the NFL, and Julien Edelman's still making money from when he probably did performance-enhancing drugs.
Absolutely.
I mean, you call it almost stealing, folks. This is stealing. You're stealing from an organization.
Yeah.
Because you're showing an organization you're better, that, you're more valuable than a certain amount, and yet you used a performance-enhancing drug to get where you're at. And it just shows the little bit of debate there, because you heard people talking about Julien Edelman and I don't understand it because it just happened this year.
I understand your portion of it, but I've been outspoken on, PEDs and steroids and how it I don't care. My thing is it's like the guy in the regular season, yeah, he's a great wide receiver, but not Hall of Fame numbers. Yeah, I understand he's won 3 Super Bowls. I understand that, but. I mean, the perfect example, I basically wanted to say is you can't just put a guy in the Hall of Fame just because he was good in the playoffs. A perfect example of that is Andy Pettitte. Andy Pettitte has literally been through everything that Julien Edelman has done. I mean, Andy Pettitte's won the World Series in what, 96, 98, 99, 2000, and then 2009. Okay? Was he on the 96 team? I don't know if he was on the 96 team. It might have been just the 98 team. But either way, that's what, 4 or 5 World Series champions. Okay. He's been, pretty good in the regular season. Now, when we go to the playoffs, the guy is the best pitcher in the playoffs, period. Stats-wise. The best pitcher in the playoffs. The most wins in the playoffs. But people are borderline, putting him in the Hall of Fame. He's been through the PEDs, obviously. So, what are we gonna do here? I don't think Julien Edelman is a Hall of Famer. I'm sorry, I just don't see it happening. I mean, if he's a Hall of Famer, then you might as well start putting anybody else in. I mean, it's serious now.
Well, now you need to put guys like Roger Clemens in.
Well,
who was unbelievable for years. And then Barry Bonds the same way. I've never seen people play the game better. Obviously.
But, these guys are the best at their position. I mean, Barry Bonds arguably is the best baseball player to play.
Under performance-enhancing drugs.
Well, I mean, Roger Clemens.
Or else it's debatable at that point.
Dude, he's a Hall of Famer before the PEDs. Or the steroids.
He turned into a 50 base.
Yeah, but did you see him when he was in?
He stole so many bases, and all of a sudden.
That's what I'm saying. The guy was a multi-tool player, outfielder. He can run the bases. He has a great eye, so he was walking a lot. And then when he started cracking home runs on every other at bat, they were walking him with the bases loaded. The thing is, Barry Bonds was a great baseball player.
And does not deserve to not be in the Hall of Fame on a basis of performance-enhancing drugs.
I think he should be in the Hall of Fame. I think Roger Clemens should be in the Hall of Fame. I think Alex Rodriguez should be in the Hall of Fame. But going by numbers, Julien Edelman, I don't think should be in the Hall of Fame. I don't care if he took PEDs or not. I just don't think he should be in the Hall of Fame. That's just me. But, I mean, we might as well go into the Super Bowl now. I mean, we were going to start with this, but...
I just wanted to start with this whole Julien Edelman debate because I'm sorry, after seeing a guy get suspended for PEDs earlier in the season in one sport and then get talked about Hall of Fame by the end of the year is, so selfish. Because, like you said, Barry Bonds was the best player at his position. And then Julien Edelman's not even the best wide receiver of his era.
That's what I'm saying.
Or even of this season.
Yeah.
So... It's highly debatable, and they talk about Hall of Fame with this kid. Obviously, he won the MVP of the Super Bowl, so that means your Super Bowl champions were the New England Patriots again,
yes.
Which would also be one of those 4 teams I would be telling you in the NFL going into next season to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Like we've talked about these predictable things.
Yeah. This game, like I said earlier, it had some mixed reviews.
I thought it was amazing.
To me, as a football fan, I thought it was a great game.
It absolutely was. And you've heard analysts and stuff like that. They've already been flipping out at the whole idea.
Well, I have a clip of Trey Wingo.
Oh, you have that?
Oh,
my God. That's exactly what I was saying. I could not believe.
We're going to play that in a second. But
his reaction to this.
But, I echoed it. Because it's like, you're going to sit there and watch the game, but then you're just going to complain about it? Like, first of all, the Super Bowl is probably the the one sporting event that not even football fans watch, okay? So these non-football fans that are, let's have a Super Bowl party, are going out and, they're like, all right, we're going to have a great game. It's the Super Bowl, the two best teams in the league, this and that, and then you look at it this year, maybe the non-football fans know, but you had like two of the top 5 offenses in the league going at it in this game. It didn't turn out that way. But in turn, it turned out to be a very great Super Bowl in football terms. That's a game that you want to see. It's a strategic game. That was a coached up game. Okay? Defense had to be in their right spots. The defensive coordinator had to pull out the perfect defensive play for the offensive coordinator on the other team to pull out the best offensive play. I mean, if you watched NFL Films put out a couple of clips of the Patriots sideline, there was one play that McDaniels literally drew up 2 seconds before they actually played it. And it came down to that, and you could see the two players. I think it was James White, and it might have been maybe one of the wide receivers. I forget who it was, but they were like, "Who put that play in the playbook?" And James White was like, "They actually just drew it up on the sideline just 2 seconds ago." So that kind of goes with everybody saying that Tom Brady is a system quarterback, which is you're out of your bird. But I thought it was a great game. I was pretty happy with the outcome. I thought
it was a really good game. On the basis that
you're a football fan.
You're a football fan. You're watching these two teams go at it, and obviously it's a close game the whole way. There wasn't at any time this game was out of reach. But
that's my point. Hey,
hold on.
That's my point, because it was so close that it still came down to even just kicking a field goal.
Yeah, no, the game
at
was
the end
close.
of the game.
The game was close the whole way. Aside from the last couple of minutes of the game, I mean, these two teams were going back and forth, and the defense was there, which was funny because you talk about how the 4 teams that were left in the Super Bowl contention were the 4 best offenses in the entire league.
That's what I'm saying.
By far, powerhouses. They're the ones that are winning these games to get them to the Super Bowl. And then you get to the Super Bowl. After the 2 AFC and NFC championship games, as wild as those games were, you go to the Super Bowl, and there's absolutely zero scoring. It just shows that these were 2 great head coaches going at it, and the greatest head coach of all time.
Outcoached.
And this is coming from a New York Jet fan. I'm a Jet fan. It sucks to say, because this guy was ours. And he left our team to go coach the New England Patriots, and he's the best coach.
There was a chance that he could have been the head coach of the
ever.
Jets. Could you actually imagine if Bill Belichick ended up as the head coach of the New York Jets? He's
the best coach I've ever seen. I don't even want to think about that, because he's the best coach I've ever seen.
I mean,
he's a coach that won 11 games with Matt Castle. He is the greatest coach I've ever seen in my entire life. Tom Brady is a great quarterback. I will always tell you that he's not the best ever. I'll tell you that till forever.
And I will always tell you that he is the best quarterback ever.
I don't think he's the best one to ever play the game. I think he played under a great head coach who had his team prepared, because Tom Brady had nothing to do with shutting out Patrick Mahomes, the 50 quarterback rookie that says there's not even enough game film to prepare for that kid. And you stopped him in an entire first half. Tom Brady had nothing to do with that.
Yeah, but
the Rams scored 3 points in the Super Bowl, the most important game of the season. You score 3 points, and you're an embarrassment because of Bill Belichick.
Now, answer me this.
You cannot debate this at all.
Answer me this, though. Does Bill Belichick have 6 Super Bowl wins without Tom Brady?
No.
Okay. So we're going to move on from that cuz
No, that's
dude,
I'm being completely honest. He doesn't have
be,
6 rings.
To be totally honest with you.
Does he have at
I
least
mean,
3? Without a doubt. I don't care who his quarterback is. I've never seen a guy. These guys play for him. I've never seen anything like it because I can't name anybody on that offensive line.
Yeah, but like
I can't name
Bill Belichick,
that guy Harmon, who I saw left and right.
Bill Belichick tells you how important Tom Brady is to his offense and his team by every other move that he makes. This guy does not sign any player to a high contract because once it gets to that point, and that guy is like, oh, yeah, I think I outplayed my contract. I want a big one. He goes, all right, go get a big one somewhere else. And trades him for a 3rd-round pick. Trades him for a 5th-round pick. He's kept Tom Brady around since 2002. Since 2002. The first year that he played in this league, he wins a Super Bowl. Okay, so to me, overall, I think Tom Brady is still the greatest quarterback of all time, but I also think that Bill Belichick is the greatest coach of all time.
It's really just hard to make that 100% known, saying Tom Brady is the best quarterback in football ever, when you played under the best head coach ever. And I'm telling you, these Super Bowls that even Tom Brady lost.
So who do you think is the greatest quarterback of all time?
It's so highly debatable. You can't put one guy there.
The one guy that everybody obviously puts next to Tom Brady is Joe Montana. Okay, so other than Bill Belichick, who has been a top coach, of all time?
John Elway, Steve Young. There's so many of them.
But what I'm saying is, if you look at Joe Montana had Bill Walsh, one of the greatest coaches of all time.
But not the greatest coach of all, because we already know who the greatest coach of all time is.
Obviously, at that time, he was the greatest coach of all time. You can even say Vince Lombardi, but obviously, it starts getting to the point where, the offenses and the defenses get so, I guess...
I don't think you're understanding the greatness of Bill Belichick.
Listen, no.
Awards are going to be named after Bill Belichick.
Absolutely. And I'm not saying anything about Bill Belichick. I am full force. He is the greatest coach of all time. But I'm also full force that Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback of all time.
It's just there's too much of a debate there. I know a lot of people want to put that into fruition, and people want that really badly, and I understand.
He's got 6 Super Bowl wins. He's got more than 30 other teams by himself.
Oh, by himself.
Okay.
By himself. I mean, you heard that, folks. By himself.
Listen.
This is like the kind of crazy thing that people think in a football standpoint. I'm serious. This is legit. This is a problem with a lot of fans. This is what they're thinking. That he's winning these Super Bowls by himself.
So who else on that team has 6 Super Bowl wins?
Doesn't he? Who has 3? Who has 2? Guys come and go. Teddy Bruschi. I could go back years with great players that the Patriots have had. And have they kept winning? Absolutely. That's Bill
Listen, don't
Belichick.
Don't get me wrong. Yes, he is a great coach, but he's a great defensive coach. Okay? So it gets to a point where he really doesn't do much for the offense. Okay, Tom Brady does a lot for that offense, and Josh McDaniels now
won 6 Super Bowl rings.
Absolutely.
And you're telling me he has nothing to do with the side of the football?
I never said he had nothing, but he doesn't have his hand in the cookie jar as much on offense that he does on defense.
It's in there. I can guarantee you both hands are in there. Guaranteed.
Listen,
making great calls.
I think more so in the film room type of stuff, where before the game, I don't think he really touches the offense during a game. To be totally honest with you, I really don't. I think it's more of, him sitting down with Tom Brady and sitting there and saying, you know what, this is what we're going to try to do. This is what, and he reads the defense.
Again, I'm not telling you Tom Brady's not a great quarterback. I'm telling you he's not the best of all time because it is so highly debatable. That's what started this.
If we're going to say that he's not the great, then we can't say that any of these players are the greatest because then we're going to say that the coaches are better.
Yeah, the coach is always going to be better for Tom Brady. It's just a known fact. It's been like that.
I think we're just going to have to agree to disagree on this one because this argument could go on and on. It really can.
But it's just on the basis that...
Because it's the same argument as LeBron James being the greatest of all time in basketball.
Well, because I can't name LeBron James's head coaches. I can name Michael Jordan's.
Yeah, but you can't tell me that Phil Jackson's the reason why Michael Jordan is in the greatest of all time argument.
Why? You're a Laker fan.
I am a Laker fan.
Kobe Bryant.
But
Phil Jackson.
I'm not saying Phil Jackson is the reason why Kobe Bryant should be a top
won those
2.
championships? Not at all. No credit to him whatsoever.
No credit
Zero.
to Shaq. No credit to Kobe. No credit.
Michael Jordan.
So now you're going straight for head coaches, and they're the reason why these guys are in arguments of greatest of all time.
You can't tell me there's no credit to be deserved.
But you can't. But these guys have to do.
Who is the best head coach ever in basketball? You tell me who the best head coach.
You could arguably say that it was, Phil Jackson. I mean, you could go Red Auerbach, like any of those guys.
It's just too highly debatable, and I'm just saying when it comes to Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, Belichick, Tom Brady had nothing to do besides sit on a bench while Mahomes is getting shut out for an entire first half, and while the Rams got shut out for 4 quarters this season alone.
I understand.
And I understand he's an older quarterback, so obviously he's not going to be the same pace. And I understand that, Tom Brady, you were great. You have been great for a long time. A long time you've been great. But the greatest of all time is very hard to give out to somebody like that. With the head coach, and it can be easily perceived. Winning is winning. Don't get me wrong. And records, Tom Brady, but you didn't even win a Super Bowl on your record-breaking seasons. On the basis that you put up 14 points. 14 against the New York Giants.
And like I said, defenses always come up more in the Super Bowl.
Of course, it's very important.
But Tom Brady has 6 rings. He also has 6 fourth-quarter comebacks in the Super Bowl.
I can't name you a single defensive coordinator of Peyton Manning. That's my point. I can't name anybody.
Their defense
There's 4 head coaches
good.
in the NFL right now that are former Patriot defensive coordinators, I feel like, right now.
Tony Dungy was a great head coach.
Great head coach? Great head coach. Tony Dungy.
You don't think he was a great head coach?
I do not. On the basis of Tom. Peyton Manning.
So you're going to say Peyton Manning is the greatest of all time?
Who was making calls at the line of scrimmage?
Tom Brady? Yeah, but you can't tell me that Tom Brady doesn't make audibles.
Every single one of them. Every play.
You can't tell me that Tom Brady doesn't make audibles. You can't tell me
the same way Peyton Manning did. The same way Peyton Manning.
Peyton Manning was a maniac when it came to that. Like he had to make it was like
why? Why?
Like his play
because he had to score. Did he have to score a lot?
Well, obviously, everybody's
because Tony Dungy couldn't put a defense together that could stop
that's
anybody.
Not his fault. That's the owner's fault. Jim Irsay's an idiot.
So you put that whole blame on Jim Irsay. Talking about those left.
Not putting a defense together.
Who did they have? They had 2 really, really good pass rushers. Am I wrong?
They had Dwight Freeney and they had the other dude.
They were more than capable.
No, I understand.
So I don't blame staff. I mean, I don't blame personnel when it comes to the defense of the Indianapolis Colts for years because they won games. It's not like they did not win games. They won games.
Absolutely.
I'm just saying, and we're talking about just another guy who only won 2 Super Bowls.
Yeah.
Same thing as his younger brother, which we don't even talk about being the greatest of all time.
We shouldn't because his numbers don't even match any of these guys.
Yeah, but if we're putting it on the basis of Super Bowl rings, then why isn't Eli Manning a Hall of Famer?
I'm not basing it mainly on Super Bowl rings. I'm just saying the guy's got 6.
Yeah,
it is so hard.
Are you talking
to
the guy
win a Super
Belichick,
Bowl.
right?
No, I'm talking about Tom Brady. He has 6 6 Super Bowl wins, okay?
It
is hard to get to one.
It's always
listen, I'm a Cowboys fan, all right? I'm a Cowboys fan, and I was still drinking out of bottles when the Cowboys won the last Super Bowl, all right? It has been tough, and I watched a very, very, very good quarterback come through with the Dallas Cowboys in Tony Romo, and he never even sniffed a Super Bowl. Never even sniffed a Super Bowl. It is hard to get to a Super Bowl. Period. You have to have...
And you're putting the bases on that only on Tony Romo, because I'll never be the one to do that. I'll tell you, your head coaching was terrible.
No, this is what everybody else does. Everybody else puts it on Tony Romo. I'll tell you right now, he never had an offensive line. He never had a defense. Period. Never. Okay?
There's my point to you, though.
But what
you can't put all the blame on Tony Romo for not making Super Bowls. And
So
you
then
can't
we
put all the
can't.
blame on Tom Brady for winning all these Super Bowls. You just can't do it. It's a team sport. It always has been. It takes a team of players.
So then can we agree that Tom Brady and Bill Belichick are the greatest tandem ever?
Yes. Tandem,
Thank you.
Doesn't
Now
make
we're
him the greatest quarterback ever. It just doesn't.
Now we're going to go to a break here, and we'll actually get into the game this time around. You're listening to Running Up the Score.
All Noise Radio, powered by the Connecticut School of Broadcasting. All Noise Radio is an internet radio station that's fully produced by graduates of the Connecticut School of Broadcasting. From modern rock to old school hip hop, country to classical, news, talk, sports, and more. It's the noise you can't ignore. Log on to allnoiseradio.com. Fire up the station. Find out more about your favorite jocks. Get the latest CSB news and more. Plus, you can take All Noise Radio with you on the go for free. Just download the Live 365 app to your iPhone, iPod Touch, or BlackBerry and search All Noise Radio. Check out tomorrow's broadcasters today at allnoiseradio.com. Powered by the Connecticut School of Broadcasting.
Hey, this is Jerry Napoleonello, host of Running Up the Score. We are live once every week at 7 p.m. Eastern, where we hit on all the top headlines in the world of sports. You can also find us on Stitcher, iTunes, and those of you that like the visual aspect, check us out on YouTube. Running Up the Score. We run up the score on Sports Radio.
Cyberstation USA is the future of radio. Get your business into the online future at the world's largest internet radio station. From banner placement on our homepage to any of our broadcaster stages, commercials on our video player, audio spots on any of our shows, or at the beginning of any of our on-demand broadcasts. Cyberstation USA offers competitive rates with a worldwide reach, a fully integrated one-stop shop social media broadcast platform. For more information, please contact our sales department at Cameo at cyberstationusa.com.
This is Running Up the Score, your one-stop spot for all things sports. Join in on the conversation by calling in at 605-562-7085. Now here's your hosts, Jerry Napoleonello and Kevin Donlin.
Girl just wanna have fun with me. These girls ain't really no good for me. Yeah.
All right. Again, first go to seatgiant.com and type in RUTS Sports to save on tickets. Call in at 605-562-7085. Press 5 to be heard live to join in on our conversation here. We're still sticking with Super Bowl 53. We didn't really get to go into the game here, I guess. We've gotten into a few debates on the way. But finally, we can actually talk about the Super Bowl here. Lowest scoring Super Bowl game ever. Okay? But yet again, I still think it's the greatest. And actually, let's play the clip of Trey Wingo. If you did not hear Trey Wingo on Wingo and Golic, or Golic and Wingo, whatever you want to call it.
Don't worry, nobody watches ESPN anymore. I mean, this is just the new world.
Yeah.
I think Disney made a terrible purchase with ESPN because you can find highlights, folks, on anywhere basically now on the internet.
Instagram.
So you really don't need a channel to be doing that for you anymore. No offense, ESPN.
Yeah, basically. So this is Trey Wingo talking about fans watching the Super Bowl.
Let me just say this about that, and I'm throwing out the disclaimer. I am not the audience the NFL is trying to reach.
You're right. That's
I'm throwing that out there, okay? Because I've been all in since I can remember watching football. So I've never watched a game for an announcer. I've never watched a game to be. I love the game. Okay, I love the game. I appreciated the brilliance of the coaching, and that was enough for me.
Right.
What drove me crazy yesterday, including some of our colleagues here. Oh, this game is boring. Oh, entertain me, please. Make me want to watch. Shut up! Just shut up! If you don't want to watch, then don't watch. Go watch the Raptors and the Knicks. Go do something else. But don't sit there for 4 flipping hours with your eyes glued to the game and say, oh, this is so boring, but I can't stop watching. Oh, it's so boring. Just shut the hell up.
Wow, okay.
I mean, give me a break. If you don't want to watch it, then don't watch it. But don't watch the game and sit there and go, oh, I hate it. That's the worst. And you people that did that, you're the worst. The absolute worst. Yeah, Jerry, we'll tell them. I don't want to hear any of that garbage. If you don't want to watch the game, don't watch the game. But don't sit there watching the game and saying, oh, I'm so bored. I can't take it anymore. Give me a break.
Trey Wingo's opinion does not reflect the opinion of the Golic and Wingo.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Jerry, does it? It does.
I'm not even going that far. I'm not even going that far.
Just stop your whining.
Well, after the little jab he gave to you, I heard that low-key now. So, obviously, Trey Wingo, a little upset.
Yeah,
and
he echoed what I echoed what he had to say. So
at the same time, I mean, don't let someone else's opinion really affect you. It's all, you know what I mean? Like, he really is like kind of going a little over the top there. But
that I understand. But
if the game's boring to someone, he's right. Don't
off.
watch. Who cares? I mean, if you don't want to hear someone complain about it, you're watching the Super Bowl with the wrong people. Surround yourself with good people, Mr. Wingo. That's all I ask.
Yeah.
And
but you also got to think he's got thousands of followers. They're probably tweeting him all day long.
I can imagine.
I
would have that muted. So
that I understand. But before we even get into the Super Bowl here, we got some big news. An offer has been given out from the Yankees to Manny Machado. The Yankees are reportedly offered Manny Machado $220 million over 7 to 8 years. So that's big because that's not we haven't heard anything. The Yankees really haven't offered anything to Manny Machado. So there's your offer. Now it is all in Manny Machado's hands. We will see if Machado will be a Yankee. So back to the Super Bowl. I am full force, all with Trey Wingo on that one. I thought that was funny. But going into the game, the Patriots fans overpopulated the Rams fans. I mean, it was basically like a Foxborough game.
That's because people in Los Angeles don't watch football, no matter how much the NFL tries to give them Super Bowl opportunities.
Yeah. So, and I actually, a side note, I watched a video. I think it was Barstool. Barstool went to St. Louis, spoke to people, about losing the Rams. They ripped the Rams, this and that, whatever. Then he goes to LA and people had no idea what players were on the team. They did not even know they were in the Super Bowl. Why would you want your team to go to LA with a bunch of bougie people that know nothing about sports? I mean, if you go to Wisconsin, all right, you go to a Green Bay Packers game, the whole town shuts down on a Sunday because the Packers are playing. Like, those are the cities that you actually want to be in as a professional sport, as a professional team. I mean, the fact that the Islanders moved from out on the island to Brooklyn, which technically is still on the island, but not really. The fact that they did that, all right, I mean, obviously, it's close enough that, the fans can still travel to the game. But it just makes it so much harder. That's why I'm so happy that they're moving to Belmont, because it is so much even closer to our house than the Nassau Coliseum is. So I'm excited about that portion. But back to the Super Bowl. The big plays in this game was the throw in the fourth quarter to Gronkowski that led to the scoring touchdown, the only scoring touchdown of the game. I also thought that the other big game was the other big play in this game was McCourty breaking up that touchdown pass in the third quarter of Brandon Cooks. And Brandon Cooks also had another touchdown that he dropped. But it could have been pass interference. It could have. You could see.
I feel for Gronk on this one. I think if Gronk would have scored that touchdown on that big play, he would have won the MVP, and he would have been able to retire easily. Yeah. And I think it would have been a great story for him because Gronkowski was a very good tight end.
Yes.
Now, you talk about the Antonio Gates of the world and the Tony Gonzalez's of the world. You put him right up there. And he's been deserving of it.
Yeah.
Again, just a great player. Again, the best of all time, even with tight end? No. But a great player. These are great players. I don't ever want to put against, just other players on the basis of how great these teams have been for the New England Patriots. It's been unbelievable. And in this game, it was no different. I'm watching this team the tackling was there. Almost like if you don't tackle for the New England Patriots, you're not going to see the field. You miss one tackle on the field, get on the bench. I'll get someone in there that will do it. And that mindset for the New England Patriots has been a huge reason for their success. And it didn't end here. I mean, right now, I told you that if I heard Ndamukong Suh,
yeah,
and Aaron Donald's name, that the Rams were going to win this game.
Yeah.
And once again, the almighty Belichick proved me wrong because I heard those names. They were making impacts. And the Rams still lost this one. So I thought the Rams actually played a great game. Stopping New England's offense had not seemed easy. It looked like nobody can stop Julien Edelman. I don't think anyone could defend him at this point. Not even almighty.
In that game too.
I know. Akeem Talib and Marcus Peters are on that team too as part of the double.
Like 3 yards, 4 yards of cushion. But he was being double teamed. Like, that's unheard of.
Yeah.
But, can we, like you were talking about getting basically taken off the field and everything. Can we talk about a guy that really didn't touch the field? Todd Gurley? Like, what's the deal? What is the deal?
It's almost alarming.
It really is.
It actually makes him not even that much of a basis, folks, for number one pick in fantasy football after what happened towards the end of this season. It's a little alarming.
You can't say that it was an injury because he wasn't on the injury report. He said that he had an MRI in the Philly game. That was like 4 games before that Super Bowl, and he ended up having 175 yards rushing in the Cowboys game. So what's the deal? What's the problem? I mean, I've also heard, you know how Vegas finds out these things, sources and stuff like that. But R.J. Bell, who's a big gambling, sports gambling guy, Colin Cowherd always has him on his show. He was reporting that Todd Gurley had some kind of I don't want to say disease, but some kind of illness that was keeping him out. I don't know, but I don't understand why you don't put this on the injury report. And I think if it does come out that something like this did happen, the Rams are going to be losing a lot. They'll probably lose a draft pick. They'll probably be fined. So it's going to be interesting to see the whole thing with that. But like you said,
honestly, if someone wakes up in the morning and is sick, I don't think a team should be getting fined or anything should be happening to a team because of it. They did what they had to do.
Yeah,
and
but
they put their other guy in.
You can't say that it's a wake up and I'm sick. He sat out most of the NFC Championship too, and there's a week in between. So you're talking about a 3-week span that he basically came in and probably had 9 rushes. So there's something going on.
I don't know about you. I mean, but listen, I'm a human being, and so is Todd Gurley. We want to think these guys are superhuman, but they're really not.
No.
And let's say you have a cold. Okay, now I've had a cold that I've taken medicine, and the effects of it could stay for a while.
Yeah.
Even if it's just a stuffed up nose. And you got to remember, this guy is running. You know, on top of the fact that sometimes it could be uncomfortable for a player, and could that affect him? Of course it can.
Absolutely.
Will it make him the most beneficial to put in the game? Absolutely not. So let's put the next guy in who is not feeling like that, and will get us 3 or 4 reps in a row. Like you said, Todd Gurley was not on the field that much. It was the Super Bowl. You know, Sean McVay is a very, very good head coach. I'm pretty sure that if he could have put Todd Gurley in and felt comfortable doing it, he would have. So whether or not it should be on the injury report is just nonsense. I think this is just something for ESPN to talk about because, again, running out of things to talk about.
Yeah.
And I've seen it.
Well,
more and more every day about articles and like, folks, I want to go right past this because I don't, but the point is that they didn't play him.
No.
That's the whole point of the matter. I'm not going to get into a whole thing about why because it's very simple. We don't know. and personally, I don't care.
Yeah.
The game's over. It's not going to change anything.
Well,
talking about it forever is not going to do anything. It really isn't. And just the fact that he wasn't on the field and how alarming that could be for next year because it happened for a while. Yeah. Now, was he sick? Was he not? What was the ordeal? Something will come out eventually.
Absolutely.
But right now, even from a fantasy football standpoint, I don't even know if I want to draft this guy. I don't even and this is a guy that you could not draft, especially towards the end of the fantasy season.
Yeah.
But this whole playoff thing with the Los Angeles Rams,
it's interesting.
Was interesting to say the least. They did only score 3 points in the Super Bowl. I credit Bill Belichick for that 100%. That was an amazing work. That defense looked great. There was some guy on that team named Harmon that I never heard of before, or I might have heard maybe, in passing. Had a great game.
Yeah.
I watched just little plays made by him.
Deshaun Harmon, right? Or something like that.
And also another thing we can also get into a highly debate about is the fact that an offensive player won the MVP of this game.
Yeah,
I think the last thing that should have happened was
that I'm with you on. I think
even if you have to,
Hightower could have won.
Even if you want to give the MVP to the linebackers, of the New England Patriots, or the safeties, or the linemen, something. That MVP deserved somewhere else besides a wide receiver. And don't get me wrong, Julien Edelman, like we talked about, got open at will in that game, and he played really great. Doubled coverage.
125.
He had 141 yards on 10 catches in the Super Bowl. Very, very impressive.
Yeah.
Especially in a low-scoring game like that, where it looked like no one else was making an impact but you, my friend.
Well, we had, the ratings came out, obviously. The Patriots Rams game was down 5.2% from the 47.4 overnight of the Patriots and Eagles last year. They went to 44.9 overnight rating. It's the lowest overnight rating in the Super Bowl since Steelers Cardinals drew a 42.1. Now this is fully because of New Orleans. Fully because of New Orleans. New Orleans, their percentage of their ratings were down 51%. Nobody in New Orleans watched the Super Bowl. They even had a parade outside to boycott the Super Bowl. And they even had the newspaper came out, the headline, the first page, the title page was, what Super Bowl?
Yeah. I mean, like I said,
it was great.
Like I told you off the air, for me, I really wanted to see the Saints win the Super Bowl. And when they didn't win, and obviously I reacted on this show with the referees and how embarrassing that was for the NFL and how those two games were great. And I can bet you if you look at the ratings of those two NFC and AFC championship games, there was no, skipping a beat with those games. Because those games, if you weren't watching them, you weren't doing yourself a favor because they were two great, great games, very exciting. And, obviously what happened looked horrible.
Yeah.
Because it was a clear-cut call. I understand Saints fans not wanting to watch, as I told you off the air, every year when football ends for me. Now, we've talked about, I'm not the biggest baseball guy anymore.
Yeah.
Watching the steroid era, it's just not there anymore for me. You talking about $235 million for a player, I do nothing but shake my head. Because that game is just so imbalanced. It's so hard to keep track and try to just follow it. Baseball is a very interesting sport. It's very difficult to learn, and I don't want to go on a tangent here, but on the point is that, when you're evaluating, the basis of, you understand, like, the point I'm trying to say here, though? Like, you do understand, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Because, like...
But I thought I saw a stat. You want to call it a stat? Maybe. I don't know. I thought it was, like, outrageous.
The point is that I'm not missing football.
No,
that's basically what I was trying to say. Was that I'm not going to miss football. I'm not going to count how many Sundays until a football season again, despite the fact that baseball coming up and not being a fan. That's the basis that I'm basically just trying to say.
It also helps that the Islanders are playing very well right now.
Oh yeah, always.
But
always
like I was saying, I saw this stat, if you want to call it a stat. But we look at Bill Belichick, great head coach, won multiple Super Bowls. We look at college football. We see Nick Saban, great head coach, won multiple national championships. They have never won the championship in the same year, ever.
That's quite interesting,
right?
Actually.
I thought that was the best stat or whatever you want to call it of the week. I thought it was funny that CBS kind of went to Tracy Wolfson a little too soon. She was getting trampled in that whole scrum for Tom Brady after that game. And I kind of felt bad. But they had the mic on her the whole time, and they stayed with her. Like, usually you'd kick it back to Jim Nantz and, Tony Romo, do a little bit more of what they did all game and kind of make that game interesting for other people. I thought they brought humor to the game.
Of course, absolutely. No, the broadcast of the Super Bowl was great. And it's what makes it an event. And everyone loves to watch it for that reason. CBS does a great job. I'm not going to critique anything they ever do. That's just something it's just a waste of our time at that point.
Yeah.
I mean, they did a great job. Yeah. They're always going to do a great job. They're CBS.
Yeah.
Nicely done, folks.
Basically what I wanted to get to, the Patriots, Super Bowl champs, we're basically done with that. Now, before we get out of here, NBA had the trade deadline. LeBron James basically wanted to trade the whole Lakers team for Anthony Davis.
That was embarrassing, those chants.
My God.
Embarrassing.
Dude, like, the whole thing.
Sorry,
to be honest with you, I think
this wrong.
I think LeBron is more detrimental to the team than he actually is better, to be honest with you. Because what's going to happen is he's going to wipe out this whole team, and then he's going to retire in 3 years, and then he goes out and
speaks to the media saying that he's not hungry.
Dude,
so it's like,
I'm like, I'm so done.
He's saying along the lines that he's like, I've won everything I won in this league, But dude, like, that was the thing about Jordan. He was always hungry, always wanted it. And I'll even tell you the same thing, like, when it comes to Tom Brady, and could he, develop himself into the best ever on account that he's still hungry, he still wants it,
dude. He's like,
and that's
42.
what can make him the best. I know, and that's incredible. So, and then you talk about, and speaking of the media, you got Kevin Durant coming out and absolutely reacting the way he did to the media,
dude,
and then you don't even come to New York. Don't bother.
That's exactly what I wanted to talk about, because
it's going to eat you alive here. You're wasting your time.
If those questions are going to piss you off, my God.
You're done.
Wait until you have a 20, maybe a 12-point game where you go, 8 for 30 in New York.
See ya.
And they'll
eat
rip
you alive.
You to shreds.
Oh, yeah.
Come on now.
It won't even be close.
It's like he's curled up in the corner crying over a question about him going to the Knicks. Are you kidding me? Come on now.
It's embarrassing.
Jesus.
And he's going to really have to learn how to do this. Again, the NBA's turned into such a drama-filled league. I've never seen anything like it. Let's play the game, folks.
Jesus.
And even the same thing, even with, football has been developing this drama standpoint. Guys, let's just play the game. This is a sport. It's all in good fun. There's got to be so many side stories with all these games. It's like things I don't care about. That's the only thing that ESPN is talking about. And this is what I'm saying when I go across that, is that
they're all drama. ESPN is all about the drama. I mean, they might as well start having soap operas on ESPN, because that's all it is.
And nobody wants to hear about it. I certainly don't.
Are you kidding me? Oh, this guy, is having a divorce, and it might be a problem for his play on the field. Like, come on. Kevin Durant, stop being a little girl, okay? Yeah, the fact that he's crying over a question is ridiculous. Before we get out of here, the Rockets, obviously, what James Harden's been doing all season has been unreal. But Kobe had a conversation with T-Mac and
I saw that they completely embarrassed the NBA. The modern day NBA, they embarrassed because they got asked one simple question in that interview. I remember watching it. I was just very brief.
I thought it was good though.
It was good.
Yeah.
They asked him, now that you're at the age that you're at,
what
would you do differently if you could? And they looked at each other. They said, well, based on the way this league is run now, we would have played with each other.
Yeah.
And it's crazy how the league has changed.
Yep.
And that's what causes some of this drama. When you have two stars battling out for who's the real star of a team. I'm hearing the noise from Kyrie Irving calling up LeBron to apologize. What is this that ESPN is reporting? And I'm sorry, but this is why it gets turned off.
It's all about speculation with ESPN. They're all about speculation, and they run with the littlest.
There's
thing.
no way you're getting the interest of
Anthony Davis liked a picture of LeBron James. Now he wants to go to the Lakers. That's the kind of stuff that ESPN reports. Okay, it's
a new world, folks. People want to know what's going on. Want to know. I understand to some standpoint, but these stories that I hear, it's through one ear and out the other, man. I mean, it's very simple. Let's just move on. They want to know. Obviously a guy didn't perform. Let's see how he does the next night, and it's that simple.
Here's Kobe talking about James Harden and the Rockets.
James Harden, of course. Crazy streak this season. What do you think of what he's doing right now?
Well, I think I'm not a fan of in terms of winning championships. I don't think that style is ever going to win championships. But at the same time, you have to keep your team's head above water to win games. So you have to do what you have to do to win games, and he's doing that, right? Now, I think...
So are you saying you don't think James Harden and the Rockets, as constructed, can win a title?
Not with this style of play, it won't win, right? With one player dominating the ball. Now, when you have Chris Paul come back and you have more movement to the offense, where you move guys around, where you're harder to find.
And Chris Paul's back, but you mean more in the...
Yeah, because listen, if you take one player, you put him at the top of the key, or you put him on the wing, and you're running screen rolls, you're always in front of the defense. Mm-hmm. The defense can key on that, particularly in the playoffs. And that's easy to defend. Yeah. It's easy to defend. Now, what he's doing is absolutely remarkable, though. And I think it's a testament to how remarkable it is because people are now trying to minimize what it is that he's doing. I mean, he's doing some phenomenal stuff.
So he came out and basically said that they're not going to win with the way that they are playing right now and basically just ISOing James Harden. So I thought that was interesting. If you want to go check that out, you can go on YouTube. You can check out the whole, I think it was like an 8-minute interview. I thought it was good. It was actually pretty funny that, just you can see, I guess the comparison between Jordan and Kobe, you can see how competitive Kobe is. In just the fact that they were like, oh, yeah, we played one-on-one one year and, I beat you 11-3. And T-Mac was like, that never happened. He's like, no, that did happen. Like that, and it's like something like that. Like Kobe, it's like he doesn't have friends. Like whenever he's playing a sport, it's...
You want to win. Yeah, of course.
Win.
And LeBron,
and that's what you want to see.
Michael Jordan was the same exact way. It's what makes these guys great players, and it's why we still mention their names today.
Absolutely. So that will do it. We could have got into a lot more stuff, but, we had a few debates that, just...
They had to get heated.
They had to. I'm kind of upset that we didn't really get to talk about the Islanders as much, but
we'll get more into them.
Yeah,
as
definitely.
The season progresses. I mean,
now it's just like, all right. So basically, out of these 2 pages, about 75% of it was the NFL. So next week, that's not going to be the
balance. We tried to throw some NBA in there. We got to throw in Major League Baseball.
Yeah, and we're gonna start talking about the draft soon. That's coming up. So. That will do it for Running Up the Score. Remember to go to cgiant.com and type in RUTS Sports to save on tickets. We'll be back next week talking sports once again. I am Jerry.
I'm Kevin.
Be breezy.
Be breezy.
And it is all over!
You've been listening to Running Up the Score. We run up the score on Sports Radio.